Already starting and another system starting to move in for the weekend. Thanks for joining us here on AccuWeather Weekend. I'm Azallion.
And I'm Melissa Constanzer. It's made a mess of things on the roads, and guess what? With plenty more cold in place as we move through this week, there's going to be spots of the nation that aren't as accustomed to getting some of the wintry weather that will be getting it.
Yeah, and one thing that we're talking about, it's not just snow, and that's the problem. There's ice, too, which anytime we have accumulating ice, it is just not good news.
Yeah, messy setup. We are starting to see this storm unfold that we're talking about for the end of this weekend, heading into the upcoming work week. You can see all of the energy just kind of spitting here across the southwest and the interior west, and this is going to start to drive east, collecting moisture out of the south as it goes.
Yeah, in the northeast, we still have some lake effect snow that's impacting parts of New York, Pennsylvania, even into Ohio. But it's as you look out to the west, that's the system that's going to be causing a lot of the problems this weekend. And you saw there the several colors, the mix of types of precipitation.
And that's because
the only ones that are going to be dealing with this mix of snow and ice. Actually, I was looking at Cincinnati, and the forecast is pretty similar to Kansas City. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about overall for the Mid-Atlantic region, what we're expecting with this snow. So this is going to be Saturday overnight through Monday night as this moves west to east. Some areas seeing just 1 to 3 inches, but the most seeing 6 to 12 with that AccuWeather local storm max of 15 inches. Here's that wintercast for Cincinnati that I was mentioning. 6 to 10 inches expected. The next likely scenario, which is 48% to 46%, we're just kind of on the cusp between the two. 3 to 6 is the next likely scenario, but still several inches of snow. And I'm from Cincinnati. I know that this is not a city that, usually sees several inches of snow, so it's not something that they're used to. And with the mix of ice, it's one of those situations that if you don't have to be heading out and about on the roads, maybe plan to stay inside, not just for Cincinnati, but really for the whole region. Let's talk about D.C., somewhere that actually it's been several years since they received snow, but I want to give you a little bit more insight as to the problems that ice can create. This is something Tony Lawback looked into for us.
And again, that will be one of the big concerns as we look at this storm swathing its way from Kansas right towards Virginia with that ice threat. Today in Denver, some minor delays, mostly in the morning due to some of the fog. The northwest is actually really where a massive winter storm will sweep from the plains to the mid-Atlantic this weekend and well into Monday. Aside from the snow, we are also concerned about freezing rain. So let's find out why. Of course, snow, ice, and freezing rain, all a big concern as this storm system fires up Saturday, but it also brings another threat into the southern U.S., which will be the form of severe weather. So we're tracking that. Really only just getting going Saturday is what we'll be finding as that low develops as it pushes out of the Rockies. But what you'll also see is of showers possible. Farther east, we're still quiet. Atlanta, nice day for you. Temperatures in the upper 40s, but we start to break things down more across the southern U.S. as we head into Sunday. You can see this low developing here, really cranking up not only rainfall, but showers and thunderstorms that will lead to the potential for some severe weather. So we'll be covering that as it pushes its way east. Our risk for severe weather highlighted anywhere from eastern Texas right in through central Alabama. Some of the greatest threat will be Louisiana, eastern Texas into portions of Louisiana, also getting northward into Arkansas, some of that rain breaking out. Some of those cells that really start up here and fire up do have that potential to be severe. When you compare it to last weekend's severe weather threat, it probably is a little bit less than what we saw last weekend, but we still have that potential for tornadoes. Notice how these thunderstorms push east right through the night on Sunday night into Monday morning. So there will be spots that still get the rain as we start off the day on. Some great tips, especially in the northern tier where, especially around the Great Lakes, we can have those endless days of gray across Michigan, for example. You can see we still are dealing with some of those snow showers across Michigan. So get out and embrace it if you can. But a lot of cold air coming in across the northern plains, so you'll want to dress well as we head out and about today. High temperature, just 1 degree into Sunday. You guessed it, cold is the name of the game. All as that storm system creating all the trouble on the I-70 corridor continues to build. So it's largely going to stay south of Interstate 80 where we see the worst of it. There still will be a few lake effect snow showers hanging around the Great Lakes, but Most of us are really just talking about a cold, drier air mass if you're north of that system that's creating all the problems. So Kansas City, still a messy scenes. Here's where we keep that cold bottled up, and it's going to stay around. Like I said, we're watching the storm to the south. It doesn't mean that we don't miss out on the snow. We'll get some of it across the high plains into places like Omaha, but it's really going to be a northern Missouri event where the heaviest snow will fall. I think some spots through southern Iowa will pick up the snowfall. You could see an inch or two, but really the greatest threat will be closest to where that pink zone is with that icing threat. As this starts to move out, there is a bit more snow on the backside. Even St. Louis could find that. But most of us are just talking about the cold. Here it is.
For sticking with us here on AccuWeather Weekend. Well, 2024 ended with an outbreak of tornadoes across the South, capping off one of the most active tornado seasons in recent memory. AccuWeather meteorologist and storm chaser Tony Laubach tracked many of those storms. He takes a look back on the record-breaking season. Well, we are looking at another weekend with severe weather in the South, unfortunately. 23 million people, more than 23 million people sent to be impacted by this Sunday and Sunday night. Let's go ahead and take a look at our severe graphic to show you exactly where we are expecting these storms. You'll notice eastern Texas, including Houston, throughout Louisiana, weekend storms. We're seeing some severe weather possibility and moderate in that orange area. We do not have a red high risk area, so not necessarily expecting another outbreak, but we are looking at more severe weather. Now, what types of severe weather are most likely? Wind and tornadoes. Flooding and hail are still possible. It doesn't mean these are out of the question, but wind and tornadoes are more likely with what we are forecasting. Well, 2025 is underway.